Personally, I'm intrigued at the possibilities that abound if we create an enabling environment where innovative minds can pool resources together and focus on creating solutions to various problems. This is exactly what has happened with the world-famous Silicon Valley model, which started small like every other project, but today the story is simply remarkable. Now, according to a Wall Street Journal report, 6% of all patents filed in the US include the name of at least one Silicon Valley worker. This is what can come out of any startup ecosystem that has the right structures and support. Andrew Fassnidge joins me to explore the elements of a startup ecosystem. Andrew is the founder of appsafrica.com, a Pan-African mobile and technology news site. He's passionate about Africa with extensive experience in mobile software, mobile money, mobile VAS services across Africa. He holds an MA from Trinity College Dublin, Ireland, and a degree in marketing and management from the Dublin Institute of Technology, Ireland. Welcome to Tech Trends.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
Andrew.
Yeah, welcome. Now, what is an ideal startup ecosystem in your view?
In my view, it starts off with the kind of a hub and spoke appeal, where you've got an innovator or somebody in the center, an entrepreneur who's got an idea, and supporting that idea is funding, education, and you've got a host of other companies built around that. For example, in Nigeria, you could have the CC Hub, which around that covers the government, the regulator, the operators, but also I think things like Andela, where education is built around and developers are fed into these companies. But I think the ecosystem has to have all those things to operate. And the funding aspect is obviously very important. So you can have VCs, angel investors, or more common is crowdfunding.
You know, the very popular model, which I mentioned earlier, is the Silicon Valley model. But many have argued all the time that Stanford University and a group of other universities actually helped to make Silicon Valley what it is today. So what's your take on the role of education in a proper startup ecosystem?
Yeah, I think the US is very special in terms of education and its prowess in education. If we look at Silicon Valley and even in Boston with Harvard, they produce top-class graduates with all the skills. And a lot of these graduates come out of university, haven't had experience working in some blue-chip companies. So having the skilled people obviously gives startups and innovators a boost from the get-go. I think that is something that needs to happen more probably in the African context.
You mentioned Yaba, and there's this new term called YabaCon, you know, and that's where you have all the tech companies, startups conglomerating at the moment. Now, but what do you think about YabaCon and the innovation going on in Nigeria? Is it anything serious?
Yeah, I think it's the right way to go about it. If we look in London, we've got Silicon Roundabout, which is a tech hub in the centre of London, where all the tech companies are clustered around each other. It makes sense that for companies to collaborate and innovate together, that they're all in the same location. It then creates the ecosystem of support services that are needed, training and development, HR.
Yeah, but how do they deal with the issue of competition and trust?
Well, I think the big boys like Rockets, they're not going to open the door and let anybody come in and give them all their ideas. They'll probably be open to discussion and working on initiatives to increase technology and innovation in Nigeria, but under no illusions will the likes of these companies, you know, give away all their ideas and give away what they're going to do next.
You talked about funding. Is there a magic formula to that? How can you get funding, you know, in this startup ecosystem?
There are a number of different ways. Again, you know, we start with angel and seed funding, VCs, and as I mentioned, crowdfunding has become more and more popular. Again, if I look at Europe and the US, crowdfunding is very, very popular now. You've got Kickstarter, Seeders in the UK. There's a host of other ones. In Africa, we've already got a few. Africa Start, Startup, Thunder Fund, social giving platforms as well. And we've also just seen in the UK the emergence of emerging market and frontier market crowdsourcing platforms. One which is just launching this week is called Emerging Crowd, and their primary focus is on frontier and emerging markets. So I believe that the funding aspect will become easier, especially from foreign investors into Africa. I think investing in Africa will be mainstream in about 5 years' time.
Crowdfunding, how can we get it right here?
I think it's a pretty new phenomenon in the rest of the world, so it's only been around for a number of years now. But I think the appetite in Africa has definitely changed. There are some platforms already around. I think to get it right, there needs to be a couple of things. Due diligence on the actual startups and innovations that are being put up there. As I mentioned earlier, Emerging Crowd is one in the UK, and their whole ethos is about doing due diligence to a very thorough level before they will actually put a campaign up for funding. The main problem with crowdfunding is if we have campaigns that fail on a regular basis and there is no upside for the investor, well then it won't really take off. But there are some very good ones already in Africa. We got Ripple, we got Startup Africa, Africa Start. So there's a lot of, and VC for Africa, Savannah Fund is on the VC side. So I think all the ingredients are already there in Africa. In terms of a dedicated startup one around a specific industry, I don't think it's there. In the UK, for example, they have a fintech incubator, which only is incubating technology companies based on financial services. There's also a property incubator, and then it's easier then to fund these campaigns.
What are the merits and demerits of working with a venture capitalist?
Being a startup, you need funding. You will probably knock on a lot of doors looking for funding, and most businesses die due to that lack of funding. So venture capitalists can either be the savior of a company, but also a lot of the time small companies, because they're so desperate, can end up giving away a large chunk of their business to the VC, who then capitalizes on a lot of the work that has been done. But it's chicken and egg. How do you start and scale a business without funding? It's difficult without the VCs and the other funding avenues, really. So I suppose VCs, they've created a lot of very successful businesses, but I suppose entrepreneurs and young startups need to go in with their eyes open and realise that these guys are a business to make money, and not to give away too much of the business.
Do you think tech bloggers have a role to play in all this?
Yeah, I mean, our role as tech bloggers really is to, create a platform for innovators, entrepreneurs, startups to find out what's going on around the world, in Africa, in different parts of Africa, and to learn from other startups and innovators who've failed and who've done really well. And I think right now the current climate in Africa is an immense wave of startups and successful startups, which are going to create the next wave of the Facebooks and Googles in the next 10 years.
All right, Andrew, I want to thank you so much for coming on Tech Trends.
Thank you for having me.
Our mobile app of the week is Truecaller. Think about an app that helps you to solve the mystery of who is on the other side of the phone. Yes, that is exactly what Truecaller seeks to do. It's an app that helps you identify unknown calls by showing you their caller ID. It also allows you to block unwanted calls, and because it is a community of users, such calls can easily be reported as spam. Note that the only details that pop up are those already in the Truecaller database, so don't be surprised if some names don't show up. All in all, it's a good solution, but I must warn you, you need a 3G connection or a Wi-Fi before it can work properly. First question from the Tech Clinic segment comes in from Ben, who is asking if there's a way he can recover a deleted file. Well, Ben, there is a way. Now, you can either use an experienced technician who can help you, or you can try a do-it-yourself program called Recover. Now, Recover helps you to recover deleted files from your Windows computer, your recycle bin, your digital camera card, or your MP3 player. Now, this tool might take a while for the process to be completed, and there is no guarantee it will work 100%, but then it is worth the try. The second question says, I have a problem receiving emails. I suspect my email has been hacked, and right now I am so scared because I can't use it. Well, there is nothing to be afraid of as long as you still have access to the email. The first thing you need to do is to use a different PC to change your password just in case your primary PC has a malware. Then next, you need to change your security question and answer, or better still, connect your phone number with your email, which is what most email providers seem to prefer today. With this, you should gain full control of your email again. Feel free to send us your questions and comments to techtrends@channelstv.com. And remember, you can connect with us on Twitter or Facebook at TechTrendsTV. I'd like to end today's show with a quote from Richard Clark, who says, "If you spend more on coffee than on IT security, you will be hacked. What's more, you deserve to be hacked." Now, if you ask me, that quote is funny, but he just wants to drive home a point. Until I come your way again next week, think innovation, because my name is Chukwemeka Agbata.